It's the weekend. It's Mailbag. I am joined this week by Dave, Keith, Paul. Not Pete though, because Pete isn't here. So yeah, Dave, Keith, and Paul. Anyway, there we go. We've got loads of questions in.
What a start.
But it was a good start. Do you know what? There's nothing quite like my intros. I've not got much to say, but I will invariably just fuck it up somehow. But there we are. Got loads of questions in. Some Everton related, some not Everton related. So we'll kick off one with Maggie. And we'll go straight to our resident mass expert, Paul. Who out of the Everton squad will give good mass?
Right, well, there's one obvious answer to this. Before I even touch on who that person is, I'm going to build it up. It's not just one person you need for a good mass. Very much like football, it's a team game. There are different elements. You need a deacon, you need an altar boy, then you need obviously your priest to deliver a very, very good mass. So I've gone with a different flavour. I know we've got a lot of Muslim players in our team, but we're an inclusive community. If they wanted to be part of our mass, they're more than welcome. We all celebrate the same religion, just in a different way. But for altar boy, I've gone with Jordan Pickford.
Into it.
Now, for me, he just needs something to do. Now, I remember when I was at school, I actually said there's an altar boy for a bit. And again, I think the idea was just to give me something to do. Now, Jordan Pickford's quite eccentric for a goalie, so I think that would suit him perfectly. For a deacon, so a deacon's someone who can celebrate the mass, but he can't give mass, if that makes sense. So I've gone with Dwight McNeil, Deacon Dwight.
Nice.
Deacon Dwight. Deacon Blue. Sorry.
Deacon Blue, come on.
Oh, perfect. There we go. And the focal point of our mass goes without saying, Seamus Coleman. Make no mistake about it, that lad doesn't eat meat on Ash Wednesday or Good Friday. He gets his ashes. He goes to mass at Easter and he picks up his palm leaves. That lad is the focal point of our mass.
He knows mass.
He knows mass. He owns mass. And I think Pickford, going back to him, I think his altar work would be absolutely effortless as well. Just gliding around the altar, giving Father Seamus, we're going to call him, giving Father Seamus the chalice and everything else before communion. I think we've got a good little setup there. So yeah, Father Seamus, Deacon Dwight, and Jordan Pickford, the altar boy.
I meant to that the Premier League is not beating that mass lineup.
No, absolutely not.
Anyone got any advance on that?
I was just going to say, with Pickford, I've always got him in vision of, what went Home Alone and they all go to church for the, you do all of the songs at the church. And it just looks like he'd fit in as one, right, standing by Kevin McAllister and all his family. He'd just absolutely suited if he was stood in the middle of all of that scene.
Blend in.
Perfect for it.
Got no advances on that. That sounds like a good match.
That's the definitive answer, and no one knows.
You've set the bar high for this one.
And then any week after Everton get beat, and obviously we have the rallying cry, all he has to do is come out on a Monday morning and say, "Is there anything to be said for another match?"
Gonna be a busy boy.
And we go again the next week.
Yeah.
You reckon Sean Dyche goes to mass?
No.
That's a good
question. Sean Dyche spends his Sunday mornings hungover watching, cooking shows.
But he likes his Sunday brunch on, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He loves Lovejoy and Rimmer. Loves it.
With the remnants of the night before's kebab.
Yeah. I reckon he's recorded a load of Carry On films, gets up with his missus and watch them.
Set him up for the day.
Yeah.
Carry on up to toffees. Keith, got one for you. Scottish kilt review. So basically, what's the best kilt?
I mean, they're pretty much of a much. I'd say. Obviously, you get different. So this is a bit of a kilt education for our non-Celtic listeners. You get different weights of kilt. mostly, to be honest, most kilts you'll see will be like a medium weight kilt. That's what I've got.
Who wears a
Myself.
heavyweight one? David Big.
Heavyweight is it tend to be used more for ceremonial uniforms and stuff like that, like the Scots Guards and whatnot, and the army regiments in Scotland have got heavy wool kilts, and they're more sort of designed for standing out in the cold for prolonged periods, shall we say. Mine's is good. Mine's an all year round kilt. Keeps you warm in the winter, keeps you cool in the summer.
Good tartan as well.
It's a good tartan as well, good solid tartan. Mine's is Ancient Mackay.
Yeah,
which is my mum's family. Obviously, my dad being a Scouser, he didn't have a tartan. But yeah, I would thoroughly recommend getting into kilt wearing because
I'd love to.
It's a comfy piece of kit.
Yeah.
And it'll next be displayed at young Michael's nuptials.
Tremendous work. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, people do that.
I've got a question for you, Keith, on this. So, and I don't mean to insult you here by this, or probably a rather obvious answer to this.
But he's gone in anyway. So
What?
Don't mean to insult you, Keith, but I will anyway.
No, it's not an insult. It'll sound like that because it's probably a really simple answer that everybody knows and everybody's aware of. And the name of it. What is that thing that you put in front?
A sporran.
Sporran, that's the one, yeah. Yeah. Do they come with a particular brand themselves, like the tartan? I
mean, no, so sporrans, I mean, there probably are some out there, but I've never personally seen anyone wearing a sporran with tartan on it. Mine's just like, so my one is like a grey wool that matches the jacket and waistcoat.
Lovely.
You can get the big hairy ones with the fluffy pom-poms on them, which look sensational. But yeah, they're if you're shopping for a sporran, I'd recommend taking a hip flask with you so that you know how much room you've got in there and how big of a hip flask you can fit in there, because it's a good place to take booze into weddings.
No matter what the venue, no one's checking your sporran.
No, exactly, because it's culturally insensitive to do so.
Yeah. Well, the other thing I want to ask is, like, you can openly go shopping for them in Scotland.
But, I mean, yeah.
What sort of price are you looking at for all that?
For the whole...
So the sporran and the kilt.
So for a sporran and a kilt, I don't know, I couldn't give you a price off the top of my head. What I will say is I paid for sporran, kilt, ruche tie, skein do, socks, brogues, jacket, waistcoat, kilt pin was, I think, 875 all in.
Wow. See, a lot of people won't know that because it's like they're
not cheap bits of kit, and obviously, like, a lot of people in Scotland don't own one. A lot of people will rent one for a wedding or whatnot.
Right.
To buy one, basically, if you buy one, you buy it for life.
Yeah.
And what I will say is it's bloody expensive to get dry cleaned. It's something like 50 quid for the kilt itself, and then 50 quid for the jacket and waistcoat and whatnot. Socks obviously go in the washing machine because they're just socks, aren't they? But
that's a racket, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely
dry cleaning racket.
And one more, Keith, would you get that custom? And you only mentioned like family have the certain brand of kilt.
Yeah,
is that right to say? So, would you get that custom fit?
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. So when you're buying a kilt, you won't buy off the rack. You go and get fitted for it. You get all your measurements taken, and you can have them taken in, taken out. They make them with like a bit of leeway on them. There's sort of belt buckles on the sides that you can use to adjust the fit, so it's not too tight, not too loose. So the basic, like the middle of the belt is your current weight when you're buying it.
Right.
And you've got a little room to lose weight, or you've got a little room to have an extra slice of wedding cake, shall we say.
Well, it's much better to have one of them than jump on the scales, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Dave, if you don't turn up for the Wolves game in a full Scottish kilt rig out, there'll be a lot of disappointment.
I'd love to see Dave in a kilt, mate.
That'll be amazing.
I'll tell you
Depends
what,
on cars on the bagpipes.
well, I was going to say, mate, I think the belt would go down a few of us, to be honest with you. But you know,
Dave,
so if I was to you were to invite me to something that is a traditional kilt wearing attire that I would need, would I just simply go and rent one, or would you be insulted if I didn't come along as a friend of yours with your particular
Oh no,
brand of?
absolutely not. Like kilt wearing is optional entirely.
Right.
Nobody's expected to wear a kilt. But if you wanted to, I could recommend you can rent them from Slater's in town.
All right. Okay.
They do kilt hire. I think there's a couple of other ones in and around Liverpool that actually do it. But yeah, no, there's no offence is taken by non-Scots or even Scots turning up in a suit to a foreign occasion.
If you turn up in rival Tartan, instant square go on the
Oh
spot.
yeah, square, like definitely.
Yeah.
Those Mackenzies, if I get those Mackenzies outside, they're for it.
Jesus. Dave,
Okay.
next one's to you. Who'd win a thumb war, you or Jordan Pickford?
A thumb war.
Yeah.
Well, I have double jointed hands, so
Oh, fucking hell, okay. There's
yeah,
a box
it'd be me because he could think he had me slammed down, and then we'd be off having a pint thinking he'd won. But yeah, I'd be able to get out of that. I would suggest. Given he this sounds wrong. Given he uses his fingers more often than I do, that's not a given, by the way. But anyway, because I'm double jointed, I think I'd take that quite comfortably.
That's fair enough. Good. What's that?
Did Maggie ask this? Did she?
She did. These are all Maggie questions, by the way. I forgot to mention that.
Okay.
Of course they are.
Maggie's mailbag.
Dave, you've just gone a whole Jordan Pickford question without mentioning leather once. So that's that's progress.
We're going to rename this.
If he kept his gloves on, which have a bit of leather involved in, I would struggle, wouldn't I?
Oh, you turn up in that leather glove, wouldn't
Do we have to rename this Mailmags?
Definitely. Or she gets her own.
So, yeah.
You can have her own section, her own show.
Last one from me, from Maggie. Laura asked egg on pizza, yes or no. So I'm going to say yes, because as Maggie pointed out, Fiorentina pizza with egg and spinach is a belter. But Ryan Reynolds told me last week there's such thing as an Aussie pizza, which is Hawaiian with an egg cracked on it. So I need to get to Aston and try one of them.
Hawaiian with egg? That doesn't
Hawaiian
right.
pizza with egg. But it might work. I'll try it. I'll try it and report back.
I'm very much put what you like on a pizza. It's a personal preference.
It is.
I don't think eggs. I couldn't ever imagine having an egg on a pizza.
Have you had a Fiorentina pizza from Pizza Express?
No.
I can recommend it, honestly.
I'm not a Pizza Express man. I'm staunchly Rudy's.
This is
Speaking of which, we went there after the Fulham game on Saturday, and carnage was had.
Good work. Yeah, I'm sorry I had to get off there.
Yeah. Oh, you missed a belter.
Yeah.
Aperol spritzes all round.
Oh, Jesus. Of course, I miss a belter.
I'd say for whenever I've been to Lake Garda, there's a carbonara pizza, and it's just basically egg, bacon, cheese, and I think it's like a different kind of meat, but it works well. Like I was very much like, keep the idea of an egg on a pizza. You think, not for me.
In that case, it probably works, but just like your pizza comes out and there's a big fried egg chucked on top.
It's got to be baked with the pizza.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
the idea of like a full English pizza just.
Oh fuck that!
That's something that Tribeca would have done back in the day, isn't it?
Oh god, he would have done as well. Definitely. Didn't that gaff burn down?
I think it did.
We should probably move on from that.
Shit pizza.
Dan has asked, right, possible contentious question. What's the obsession with zips on shorts?
They keep you changing.
I think that's it, isn't it?
You don't lose your belongings, that's it.
Also, if you're going to wear your shorts for running, you don't lose your house keys.
Yeah. It's just a practical thing.
It's practicality.
Yeah. You can rep the toffees practically.
Yeah. I mean,
I never have
zips on a pair of smart shorts, because obviously that's like mental. But on Everton training shorts, it's ideal.
Yeah. Speaking of which, those new ones are belters, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Have they
Look
come out
good.
with the new the navy and gold ones yet? Are they on sale?
Don't know. I've only seen on like the training vids.
Yeah, I've kept checking back because the ones they've actually put on sale just now are the blue ones, which would be great, but they've made the Hummel flashes or chevrons or whatever grey, and it looks shit.
Yeah.
Washed out.
It's a dreadful. It's just like if you're listening to this and you work at Hummel and you're in charge of design or anything. No, bad. Never grey with blue. Bad. Don't do it again. Blue and white.
Go to mass.
Blue and black would work. Put black on there and I'd be all
Yeah.
right. But blue and no, it's
The grey and blue reminds me of the 2002 kit, the K-Jam one with the round neck.
Yeah.
When you washed that, it ran and the neck went grey and it looked shit. So,
how many different colours have we got going on now in the last couple of years with the Hummel?
how many got different?
I hope there's something that comes out this season that's like a lurid, horrible, burn your eyes pink because I love that stuff.
Oh, I've got the. It reminds me of Tim Cale, the bright pink one with the Lecoq one with the blue across. Horrendous kit, but equally amazing. Right, we'll move on to some red hot soccer chat now. So hopefully people have made it past this far anyway. Mike's asked who will
the advert, Les?
adverts yet. I still haven't had the warning up from Zoom yet. So Mike's asked who will score our first goal? When will our first point come? How many games without a win will cause mass panic? I think the last one, the answer to that is 1.
Yeah, I mean there's mass panic already.
Yeah, so
people are absolutely losing the run of themselves.
Who's scoring the first goal? Because we do go 1-0 up at Villa, by the way.
Alex Iwobi.
Tarkovsky scramble in the box from a corner.
Neil Mopé scoring next week.
Yeah, there's an inevitability about Mopé at some point. That's
I had this all game last week.
Yeah,
I went in and said 1-0 Mopé today, 1-0, and every chance he missed, everyone in our row was just like looking at me like.
Yeah, I think that there's inevitability about that because we've had those sort of things, those cases happen in forever and a day, haven't we? I think I'll go for the Corey again because I think he looks like he's going to play him as a 10 this season. Yeah. That's what he did most of that Fulham game. So I could see him getting a few chances. He should be much better in the air than he actually is as well. Because he's
definitely.
He's at least 6'3", 6'4", something like that, isn't he?
The only header I can remember him scoring was that one at Forest, which was potentially the worst headed goal ever. Do you remember it?
Did him come on there, didn't it?
Yeah. It just sort of scuffed his nose and bounced past the keeper. It was dreadful.
Yeah.
So what was the second part of that question then? The first first goal.
Who scores the first goal?
Yeah.
Second one, when will our first point come?
First point.
It's got to be at least Wolves, hasn't it? At the latest.
Yeah.
It's got to be Wolves at the latest.
Is it I'm gonna say Sunday.
Sunday.
Yeah.
Might as well.
Why not?
You know, be confident. Villa got smacked this week by Newcastle and their shit. So.
And that's why they'll do us. I think that's why they'll batter us.
Yeah, probably. One more from Mike. Throw this out to everyone. You get horny on Twitter, pal?
Is that not just the greatest calling out of ever? Like, it doesn't matter how good your argument is, how logical or like thought out your debate is. As soon as what I don't even know who he is now. Like, what is he Trevor Azul or Todd Azulski or whatever his name is. As soon as he goes through your likes and follows and finds a bit of grot, that's it. It's over for you. It's just, do you get horny on Twitter, pal? And everyone else is like on tenterhooks, like, come on, where's the big reveal? Does anyone else, right, okay, I'm going to out myself a little bit here. Does anyone else, like, as soon as he says it to someone, head straight for their followers to find out what it is?
Yeah. And no matter how much people say, do not look at this fella's profile,
You've
People
got to
do.
Don't look at the
Yeah.
pinned tweet. Fuck.
always look at
Pinned tweet is all. Jesus. If anyone doesn't know what we're talking about here, by the way, Paul, who is it? Is it Todd Ozulski now?
Todd Ozulski.
Just check out Todd Ozulski. Do a search for Todd. In fact, do a search for "Do you get horny" on Twitter, pal, and see what comes up. You might regret it, but you know.
Yeah.
We are strayed so
algorithm as
far
well.
from God's light at this stage.
Needs a mass all of its own, though.
Looking at it at your own risk.
I like that disclaimer, Paul. Defo.
Is everyone saying no here, by the way?
Oh, never.
Oh
Why
no, we
would
all
you?
have a look.
Do you know what? I don't want to answer it properly. Well, it's obvious what the answer is if I don't answer it properly, isn't it? Sort of like, it's dodgy if it is, but I just don't want to be seen as some fat wanker who sits at home just having a wank on his own. So I'm going to say no.
Dave.
There are other platforms apart from Twitter where you can get horny. That's all I'm going to say.
You, Paul.
I mean, it seems like a very
Thanks for that,
sort
Dave.
of convoluted way.
The best answer is the YouTube advert you're about to see. That will give you some fantastic venues to go to.
That will give you insight into your own algorithm. But that's not coming up yet. I still have another one.
Keith. Sorry, mate. Sorry, Keith.
There's got to be easier ways to go about it, hasn't there? You're in the house on your own, Saturday afternoon. Mrs. and the kids have buggered off out to the zoo or whatever. Draining.
So.
Everton are losing 3-0. You think, right, I'm going to do something else. Why would you go to Twitter?
No, you wouldn't.
No, especially these days, because you guys you'll lie if you say no here, but there's a lot of different like spam things that get thrown at you in there now. Like, and someone will send you a DM as well, saying, "Look at me for free," you know, all that shite.
I thought we were talking about throwing spam though, Dave.
What are you saying?
I'm just being mucky.
Shall we move on to a bit of transfer action? I think we should move on to a bit of transfer action.
Who are Everton signing?
Well, exactly. Meeting will end in 10 minutes.
Big Che.
Grot. As soon as you shout Grot, we're off. So Nuthouse has said, can we sign someone? So I can see people bitch about who we sign instead of not signing anyone. To be honest, I've been pretty optimistic about the team this off-season. He's from down under. And I seem to be the only one. I think that's fair. Yes. No one's really been optimistic. But do you reckon, obviously this Shea Adams thing has popped up. What do you reckon on that if we signed him? I think it's decent. 12 million seems a lot, but it's not really in the scheme of things.
12 million seems a lot comparatively to past signings. 12 million in the current market is this day and age's 2 million and a pre-season friendly against them next season.
Yeah.
It's next to nothing in this market, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you see a lot of people, right, say, oh, he's just the same as Mailbag. Look, he's got similar goals to Mailbag.
No.
The difference in that is what Che Adams brings to the team as a whole, in that he's a forward that can hold the ball up. He can take the ball into feet, he can hold it up and let the rest of the team join the play. You saw time and time again in that second half on Saturday. The ball went forward and came straight back. It just wasn't sticking at all. Che Adams is a player that the ball's going to stick to, and he gives you time for your wide players to get up the pitch and join him. So I think from that perspective, he brings a lot of benefit to the team. Also, regardless of his number of goals, he's a striker that plays with confidence and aggression all the time. Whereas Mailbag is obviously on his lassies here. He's just, I mean, that man does not want to be in the vicinity of L4 right now, does he?
No, not at all.
He's having a terrible time. He wants to go back to France, sit off in a vineyard and enjoy himself. And who can blame him? He's crap, but it's not his fault he's crap. It's our fault for spending, 25 million on the bugger last year.
On a player that just quite clearly doesn't fit in the system.
Well, that was it, wasn't it? Yeah.
I think for me, with Shea Adams, I think he's pretty much nailed most of what I was going to say. Like, he wasn't my first choice. My first choice probably would have been Gyökeres before he went to
You made
Sporting.
a good point about that on Twitter.
But that's it. Like, I mean, he wasn't my first choice, but he's not the club's first choice, Shea Adams, is he? Let's be honest. The other lad, Torre, who's gone to Atlanta, he's injured already. So who knows? Maybe he would have been perfect for us.
The
But
Lucina Traore special.
yeah, but to
Take
be
him
fair,
now.
I think it is what it is. £12 million, like you said, it's nothing in today's market. It's the equivalent to 2 mil, 3 mil. You get a proven Premier League player who's a lot more physical, a lot more able to hold the ball up, and he'll weigh in with about 7, hopefully 10 goals. Is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think something slightly different to this, because, like it or not, Mopé's not going anywhere. And what Che Adams has done at Southampton is he can play with a co-striker next to him or somebody who's just behind him. I think that's where you'll ever get the best out of Mopé, is if he's playing just behind somebody or alongside somebody. Not saying that we're going to do that even often, but that's an option, I think, for Dyson. That's another big part of him coming into us, is that there's options there now. It's a different option, I think both the lads have referred to there. The other thing as well is he reminds me a lot of James Beattie, that kind of striker who generally just, he's not going to score, I don't know, 20 odd goals in a season, is he? But if he got to double figures, I'd be delighted with him. If any of the team get to double figures in terms of goals this season, I'd be delighted. And if he comes, I think he's probably the most likely to do that.
I think James Beattie was scoring regularly.
James Beattie scored like 20 goals a season for Southampton, didn't he?
Southampton,
I think if you're looking for a past if you're looking for a past Everton striker comparison, I think you need to look at Darren Bent. He's a Darren Bent type striker. Marcus Bent. One of the Bents. I'm still staggered them two weren't related. It just seemed too coincidental not to. Maybe they were trying to hide something.
Darren Bent and Marcus Bent?
Yeah. Because like for the two of them to be around, it's not really a common surname, is it? In football.
No, not football.
Aren't there like about 10 Moussa Dembélés knocking about though?
Yeah.
That's a good quiz question.
And then it was loads.
I'll tell you what, you could make some money off creating a Moussa Dembele Guess Who.
You really could, yeah.
Does he play for Celtic? Yes. All right, knock down 3 of them.
Bears as well.
Has he got a beard?
Yeah.
Ooh.
But yeah, no, I think he's a more of a Marcus Bent comparison type striker. Like Dave said, he's not going to score you 20 goals. But if he gets between 5 and 10 goals this season as a backup striker, we get between 5 and 10 goals from Calvert-Lewin. If we can manage to get him to stay fit, stop laughing at the back. And if we get a couple of goals out of this young kid that's come in, that's a huge improvement on last season. And it takes
if he gets that amount of Keith, if he gets the amount that you've just mentioned there, Keith, I think we're pretty much up to how many goals we scored in our 38 games last season.
I mean, our top scorer last season was Dwight McNeil on 4.
5, I think it was, 5. Yeah. That's atrocious, that, isn't it? I'll just stay up with that.
Because everyone else is shit.
Well, yeah, let's hope this. I mean, everyone's banged on about this pre-season so far since the promotions from the Championship. And everybody's saying, there's at least half a dozen sides that are shit in the Premier League, so that means Everton are going to be safe. Yeah, I'm not so sure about that.
What we really need to stop on Twitter is sign a striker. No, not that one.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Just
that's all I've seen since.
Take what you're given for now. This is the position Everton Football Club are in. Accept it. It's not changing anytime in the next 5 years. Give me mid-table adequacy for the next 2 or 3 years, and I will be over the moon. Season over by March, on the beach, out of both cups in the before the quarterfinals, and I don't have to stress about them for a full 9 months a year.
I think a lot of it's with social media, though, isn't it? Like the likes of Ekitike being linked to us, and like fans are getting the hopes up. We're going to get this lad from PSG, and then when something like this happens, it's like, that's underwhelming. But we've been after him now for a good 18 months.
I know, people need to learn not to believe things they read on Twitter as well.
Just before we finish, I've got a question which is completely unrelated to anything you've just said. But Dave has asked, what character would you be in the bill?
That's me who's asked that, by the way, not another Dave.
Oh yeah, sorry, it was you, Dave. What character would you be in this show? I'm thinking I'll be Tosh Lyons because that moustache was unparalleled. He was basically Tom Selleck.
Meadows, because he was a big grumpy bastard.
I'm going to go with the only character whose name rings a bell, Reggie.
Big Reg.
Big Reg.
Is a belter.
Yeah. Tony Stamp. I'll go with Tony Stamp.
I'd have you go down the Burnside, Dave.
You are?
You're more Burnside to me, I think.
Burnside. Who do you reckon's Don Beach amongst the Blue Room lot?
Who?
Don Beach.
Who's Don Beach?
Yes, Don Beach. Like the hard fella that went into the EastEnders and he just looks like a gangster all the time.
Oh yeah, who's that?
Him or Bob Cryer. I think Matt Jones is Bob Cryer.
Well, that's what I'm
chucking out names now.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of people.
Anyone listening,
pass on. There'll be a lot of people who've never even seen the bill in their lives.
Look up Don Beach, and you'll recognise him. He does look very gangster. I think he's low key Boyland. Right?
Yeah, he is.
Right, that's the end of part 1. We've made. If you've made it this far, congratulations. If you have, and you get an advert on YouTube, let us know what it is. And we're back. So just before we broke for a break there, we were talking about names. Bill, we're going to go back to Nuthouse now because TWS has said, hang on, no, I fucked it. Doesn't matter. It was someone else. We'll come back to that later. Anyway, TWS has asked the question. With the advent of social media, we've all got an idea of who is signing before it's confirmed. What signings have you surprised or impressed or excited you? Who were you wrong about? What was the best unveiling you remember? So the best unveiling, there's only one, isn't there? It's the Belfield tree.
That tree, though, is forever tainted by Stephen Hughes leaning up against it with his elbow.
Yeah,
that was nice.
Or the one of Moyes with Jagielka, Pinar, and Baines at the same time under the tree. That was a good one.
That is, though. Jesus,
have you not seen that one?
Yeah. Oh yeah, but I mean that's just like a ridiculous lineup, isn't it?
Yeah. That's good unveiling.
One for the older fellas in this. There was Howard Kendall's Magnificent Seven. I think in about 1981. I think
that the sound Southall.
Southall, yeah. Mickey Thomas was in there. I can't remember.
Mick Lyons came back, didn't he?
Who did?
Was it Mick Lyons came back?
Oh, I'm not sure. Might have been David Johnson came back in that one. So he played for us, went to Liverpool. He came back, so it might have been him. Might have been Mick Lyons, but he went to Chef Wed in the 80s, didn't he? But I mean, that was the Magnificent Seven. That's something else, though, isn't it? That's got to be up there with Mashiri's Fab Four, which is probably the worst thing ever to happen to this club ever.
They are Mickey Thomas, Alan Ainscough, Mick Ferguson, Jim Arnold, Mike Walsh, Neville Southall, and Alan Bailey.
And Bailey. Yeah, that's one that's in there for bad reasons. That my dad told me something about Alan Bailey, and it's not very good.
Trying to think with the actual, rather than actual shit players, but the actual, what the question refers to, with it being something that was revealed and it was a bit mad. I think when we got Lee Ty and Lee Wei Young, was it?
Wei Fang, wasn't it?
Lee Wei Fang.
Yeah, because it was to do with the Kazan hit deal.
Lee Tai was the Chinese Beckham, wasn't he, at the time?
Lee Tai was fantastic. I say fantastic. He was decent, wasn't he?
I tell you
come
what,
on in a pair of total 90 boots, and I thought this fella's got it. And we kept him, didn't we? We kept the other one we got rid of, didn't we?
Yeah,
Wei Fang, yeah.
But Lee Tai stayed for another season, and I thought he was decent. And
he ended up going to Sheffield United, didn't he?
That's right, he did. He ended up at Sheffield United.
3 cases to Tom Davis.
Les, I've just found a picture of Howard Kendall's Magnificent Seven, I'm going to send you it now. Neville Southall was absolutely hench.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, ridiculous figure on the boy. That is pure 80s Tom
Oh,
Selleck
God, he is as
here.
well, isn't he?
What are these, like some of these shit ones that we signed when we stayed up in 98?
Oh,
Sorry,
that
99.
was Cartel and Mitch Ward Axis, wasn't it?
Yeah, Klaus Thompson.
He was a bit earlier. Joe Rose signed him.
Did he? Oh, Slaven Bilic he got though, didn't he?
Yeah, we got Billy.
Was he Walter Smith?
Was that Smith? Yeah.
That was Walter, yeah.
I think some people put in the replies, like the underwhelming ones, John Collins, obviously.
Yeah, he looked like he was going to be class, didn't
Having Bilic in there.
My mate hit John Collins in the back of the head with a pan drop once.
I bet he took that well.
Do you remember pan drop mints?
Yeah.
He was taking a corner for Celtic at Tannadice against Dundee United. And my mate hit him in the back of the head with a pan drop.
How close was he to him?
He actually stopped his
Stop play.
run up to take the corner, which was great.
On his head.
Yeah.
I used to be so excited we got John Collins, you know.
Oh, I think everyone was.
Yeah.
He was rancid, wasn't he?
And it just set the tone with that penalty miss against Villa on the opening day.
When did he sign? Yeah. Did he sign in 98, just after the World Cup?
It was Walter Smith's first signing, yeah. Yeah, so he scored a World Cup penalty, didn't he?
He did, yes, against Brazil.
Yeah, and we got an opening day penalty, and it was like, this is as good as just giving us a goal. Come on.
That's a quiz question for the next time we're in the Denby to do a quiz. Scottish player scored against Brazil and missed a penalty for Everton. People still struggle with that.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, answering that question, I'd say the most excited I've been about the player is Lukaku signing, because we were spending more than 5 million on a player for once. Yeah. Say the one signing that disappointed me because he just didn't live up to the hype and the potential was Moise Kean.
Yeah, it's a great shot, mate.
And like going back years before that, Andy van der Meijden, for reasons that are quite obvious.
He got the assist in the Cup derby, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah.
Gosling goal.
I mean, look at that. The assist, Van der Meijden, goal, Gosling. Fuck's sake.
Yeah. I really in that game.
You know what I mean?
But when we got Ginola in, Ginola, I was really excited about that as well because of what he did when he was at Spurs in Newcastle. And because him and Gaza played, didn't he? And I tell you who else played in that game? Lee Carsley. It was his debut as well. And
now, there you go. Lee Carsley.
It was against Arsenal. And Viltord scored the winner for them. And it absolutely pissed down. It was a Sunday night game. I think it was like 4 o'clock kickoff on a Sunday. And Ginola came on, and about 5 minutes in, he hit the post with his free kick. And I was looking at my mate saying, I told you we were getting world-class players now. His hair was world-class. That was about it.
I tell you what, though, on the flip side of that, Lee Carsley's a player who I was completely underwhelmed with when we got him. I think he'd been relegated with Coventry.
Coventry came from, yeah.
Consecutive seasons. And it was like, well, there's the final nail in the coffin.
And he looked about 45 when he came.
Do you know what? He was outstanding, wasn't he? And Real Madrid definitely signed the wrong player.
Yeah.
Players I was wrong about, and I will hold my hands up willingly. Gareth Barry.
Same.
Correct. Yeah.
What a signing he was.
I think he's one of those players, though, wasn't he, whereby you didn't really appreciate him until he played for you. So when Benitez was going all out to get him at the expense of Alonso, which I still think's a bit weird, because I'm not sure he's like Alonso level at the time.
Alonso was ridiculous, wasn't he?
Yeah, but you can see, like, when he plays for you, he's such a good player.
And he wears sensible black boots as well.
Yeah.
And gazelles to train in.
I was going to say those training videos with the gazelles.
Player I was right about all along, and I will willingly gloat over, Yannick Bolasie. Crap. Absolutely rancid. He had 4 good games this season. The 2 against us and the 2 against the Reds. That was
the main thing that excited me, though. I wanted them to see end Dejan Lovren while wearing an Everton shirt, and it just did.
Do you remember he put that video out when he was looking for a new club of his best bits? And like 3 of them were him running the ball out of play. One was over hitting a cross, and one was like a little spin he did when there was nobody near him. And I was, mate, what are you doing? What are you doing with your life? He was dreadful. And that's
mate.
why I've been panicked all summer that we were going to sign that big lump that was at Wolves, the baby oil deviant. Because he is Yannick Bolasie with the weights bench.
Yeah. Although
Someone
apparently
just went and got
the
him
biggest
last week,
thing is
didn't
he said he never did any weights, didn't he?
Aye.
I
he?
mean,
Yeah, he
come
said it
on,
was
mate.
natural.
You're not getting a body like that on press up. So
Natural, unless your ma's like breastfeeding you steroids from the nappy
Oh, mate.
onwards. Just behave yourself. The baby oil deviant. Don't want him anywhere near him. He's going to score against us for Fulham now because I've gone in on him.
Oh,
But
yeah.
he is turgid.
Just to add to that, a player I finally feel strongly vindicated for, Luca Dean. Now, it took some years. It took a long time to get there, but I feel like now I'm at that point because Villa are just about to sign the second left back in 2 years.
That was your hill to die on, that wasn't it?
That was the hill. It was a lonely hill at times, lads, but we got
But, you know,
I feel the problem there was the fact that it was Benitez that bombed him out, and you didn't want him to be right about anything.
Correct, yeah.
Like, I don't want that man to pick the right cereal in the morning. I want him to live a life of constant tiny disappointments.
I was like that with Dale Fayu. Dale Fayu came in, and similar to Moise Keane there, he came in and I thought, what have we got here? This lad could tear the Premier League apart. He was only on loan, wasn't he? Then he gave him back to Barca and then bought him. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, it was like 4 million, wasn't it? I think.
I will not have any Deulofeu slander on the timeline.
See?
Not one bit.
See what I mean? But just going back to your point.
I was a fan.
You were never a fan?
I was a fan.
His little machine gun at Arsenal away, man. He was adorable.
Yeah. The best one was when he scored the equaliser in the cup semi-final against United. Well, he caused the goal because it was an own goal, wasn't it? And after the end of that game, mate, down in London there, I was like, I visibly crying at the end of that match because we deserved to win it. After Lukaku missed that stupid fucking penalty. And then Martial goes and scores in the last minute because he gets a jammy deflection off Jagielka. That was truly devastating that night. But just before we move on there, Keith, I don't know if I knew you guys at the time. When Bolasie was there, I guess not. I don't know if Les, we made friends at that point, and I ripped Bolasie on Twitter because I can't remember what it was he was doing. It was when he was out injured or something like that, or just after he was doing his rehab, and he went and did something or got awarded something, earned something like a new car or something like that. It was. You'll be able to find this if you search for me and him on Twitter. And he replied to me. On Twitter and said something like, I think that's a disgrace in regards to mental health or something like that, right? He put that, and mate, I don't think I've ever been bombarded with tweets to the level.
I remember this.
Do you remember it?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my word, I need to switch this off now. I honestly felt like, I don't even know it. I felt like Matt Hancock or something like that. I was honestly all night. I was just reading messages. I'm like, we might have to move out, love and all this. And he ended up messaging me in the end and said sorry to me.
Really?
Yeah, what did he do for your mental health? Quick segue then onto Twitter pylons. What's the worst one you've ever had? Mine was when Boris Johnson apparently had COVID, and I tweeted jelly and ice cream. And honestly, I thought there was going to be a howling mob outside the door. They were trying to find out where I lived, where I worked, everything. Oh, fun times.
I think my one, I called some Scouser a wool. And there's very few worse things you can do than call a Scouser a wool. Don't take it well at all.
Did you get offered the fight?
Don't say that like you're not a Scouser, Les.
Well, I'm not.
That's the problem. That's the problem. No, because you, to be fair, and I don't often say this, but you do sound like one.
Yeah, but I mean, I think some of the biggest Wolves going are Scousers, and we'll put this as Scousers, like proper fucking professional Scousers. You know the ones on Twitter. They are like
Jamie
the
Webster.
biggest Wolves going.
Carry European Cups round on Lark Lane.
Paddy the
that
Baddy.
kind of thing. Yeah, they go out
Patrick the
Yeah.
bat trick.
to show you how Scouts they are. That's the biggest Wool behaviour in my book. But he will not have it that you can be a Scouser at a Wool, and was digging through like my old pictures and goes, you're a manager of the Hoylake team, you fucking Wool. I'm like, well, yeah, but you're a Wool as well. And he just couldn't have it. But he was trying to get loads of people involved and just doing me head in the end. But I think that's probably the biggest one. Instantly regretted it, but kind of
God
didn't.
bless the bird app.
Oh God, I know.
Yeah. Or the X app now, isn't it?
It'll always be the bird. It's the same as the Echo. Will never be the M&S Arena.
Never.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
See, this is why when Everton move to the Everton Stadium, you've got to get that first name and rights thing spot on. Because it'll just...
No, because you can't help but not get it right, because it'll change, won't it?
Yeah, I don't know, but it's like... I mean, I think...
Like St. James's Park's changed.
Everyone's just going to call it Bramley Moor, aren't they?
Yeah,
of course they are.
But like, if you look at like Bolton Stadium, it's always going to be the Reebok. It's the Reebok.
Yeah.
Derby's Pride Park, that's not sponsored. I think Middlesbrough got away with
as well.
Riverside, because they
Etihad's never going to change, is it?
Stoke's not the Britannia anymore.
Etihad's never going to change.
It will always be the Britannia, though, won't it?
Yeah.
Britannia, Etihad, the Emirates.
They're never going to change, are they, anyway?
No, if they did change, we'd still call them that, wouldn't we?
Yeah. So that's why you've got to get it right.
Yeah, there's some free marketing for the bastards there.
Yeah, so not the Pornhub Arena, please.
The Hot Walk Arena.
Haven't they made it? The Hot Walk's made a new place down there, haven't they? And they're calling it something different.
The Hot Walk Bowl.
It used to be called the Blue House, didn't it? Anyway.
Yeah.
So the pub was always the Blue House anyway.
Weirdly,
it was an away fans pub, which was dead strange.
We're going to have one down there, won't we? An away boozer.
To be honest, I'm just gonna drink in town and walk up.
It's the way, isn't it? Defo. Dan's asked if you could pick any player from the past to zip line from the main stand onto the pitch, who would it be? If you don't say David Unsworth, you're wrong.
I hope someone's tested the structural integrity of one, the zip line, and two, the main stand itself.
Well, when Goodison wants demolishing, there you go.
Get him in there.
All you want to do is get him in the Park End car park and launch a Holland's pie over the Park End into the ground.
That's the real quiz.
Oh, hang on. I've got somebody knocking my door here. The dog's going mental.
I will return. That's what David Unsworth would say. I was going to say then, where is he now, Unsworth?
Oldham.
Manager.
Yeah, he's still the gaffer, is he? Yeah.
Still Oldham manager, which has surprised me. I'm not going to lie.
Are they mean crap?
No, well, yeah, they're on a. I think the Oldham fans hate them, don't they? Like they were saying on one of the lads put a message in a group the other day about Oldham's run. It's not being great.
No.
I'll go with a different flavour though. If Les having David Unsworth, I'll go with Nuno Valente for very similar reasons. Just
Nuno Valente. Random, that's that, isn't it?
Do you think the weight was all in his face though? Because he had a massive face, didn't he?
He did. His body looked quite athletic when he was at Everton, but his head just looked massive.
Dave, who you ziplining?
Fucking hell, I had one in my head then before we started laughing at Nuno Valente, and I didn't think I'd be saying that today. Mikel Nadal. Just to see his hair going through that lovely wind as he goes down to the other side, or if he had a ponytail on.
You would see me swoon if that happened, honestly.
Do you know what? I can't believe there's nobody, and maybe me and Matt need to look at this, who's interviewed that fella.
He was a massive, massive hang.
Where is he and where's he gone?
I know the most surprising thing for me was that he was at PSG just before us, wasn't he?
Mm.
Yeah, but PSG now weren't the PSG then, were they?
Oh.
Or vice versa.
Yeah, it's true.
But he would have been around Ronaldinho, wouldn't he? Would he? I think he would have,
And then
That
he's
might have been a little bit later on, mightn't it?
What are you
and then
talking
he's
there?
getting
We're
three
talking
balls off Mitch Ward.
mid-90s, yeah. I don't know, he might mid-90s, he might have been there with Ronaldinho.
What is certainly would have been wearing some quality night kits for PSG in the 90s. Chris has asked, I'll probably come to you first on this, Keith. Which Everton player would most likely join in with Toast Club, and what would they toast? Neil Mopey burning BM biscuits on the highest setting.
Jordan Pickford would be banging to Toast Club, mate.
Crumpets, I reckon, for Pickford.
Pickford would be banging. Thing is, though, he'd chuck cornflakes in there or something, wouldn't he? I reckon Jimmy Bidston would like a good Toast Club.
Yeah, he would. Definitely would.
He'd have some Pop-Tarts that he'd burn to death.
Oh, do you know what? There's nothing quite as devastating as burning your Pop-Tarts.
Heartbreaking.
You go from like just right to fucked within like 3 seconds.
Yeah, it's the narrowest window in food.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with Keith there. I think James Garner, shout out to him, by the way. I think James Garner would bloody love a Toast Club, and I think he'd try and burn chips, frozen chips.
Ooh. Toaster.
Mm-hmm.
Can do potato waffles, can't you? So
you never know.
Put your shout there. I'd like to say putting chips in the toast is a Birkenhead thing, but it's not. Not even.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
I promise you. Davey's Toast Club, innit?
Completely. You took it out of my mouth, mate. That's exactly what I was going to say about Wolves doing that. Weetabix as well.
Toasted Weetabix.
Yeah. I've already toasted you. You just want to see what would happen.
You burnt the Weetabix again, dickhead. Jonathan's asked, name one opposition player you have an irrational hatred of. Julian Joachim for me. Ruined my first Everton game 12 minutes in. That's unlucky. JK comes over from Ireland as well, so that's devastating on so many levels. Dave, opposition player you have an irrational hatred of.
No, that's a long thing.
I mean, yeah, take your pick.
Whoa.
I'm going to make notes.
Andy Townsend.
Was this before or after tactics?
No, this was without his tactics struck and all that shite on ITV. Okay. I'm talking about in general, mate. People used to say he was some sort of fucking, midfield maestro with Ireland and all that. I just thought he was proper shit. And he looked about 35 when he was 21. Andy Townsend for me, I think he's shite. And as well, whilst we're there with international links on them, Gareth Southgate, pure shite of a centre half. Used to get sponsored by Pizza Hut, Mr. Penn. Just shite. And he's shite now as well. In fact, I can't stand England. I'm not a fan of England anyway, in general, with most things. Good luck to the Lionesses on Sunday, but I can't stand England in most sports. No patriotism any way or shape or form. Gareth Southgate is a shit footballer and a shit manager.
I'm just going to put it out there as well. If there's any person on earth, apart from maybe Michael Owen, who, if they weren't a footballer, would be a busy, it's Gareth Southgate.
Oh, yeah, correct. Gareth Southgate and Tony Pulis would be sergeant.
We're back to the bill again, aren't we? Tony Pulis would have slotted nicely into the bill. To be fair.
Yunus Kabul.
I know what you need to do here.
Yunus Kabul. Why is that?
Do you know what? I've no idea. I think it was the shape of his head.
Who's this?
He looked like, what's his name off Red Dwarf, didn't he?
Yunus Kabul. What, Crichton?
Crichton.
Yunus Kabul.
His head had more fucking, more corners than a rhomboid.
A rhomboid?
It was ridiculous. It was just pointy and all the wrong. But nah, that was someone wearing a human skin suit.
I think you could be onto something there.
Yeah.
I mean, do you know what? See, in real life, Yunus, if you're listening, you might be a lovely fella, but I despised you for about 5 years.
As far as I know, Yunus Kabul is now a kit designer for Hummel. So he's
way.
listening on so many levels here.
I tell you another one, right? This is coming right out of left field. Is the left back for Fiorentina when we played them in the Europa League? That Ufolusi, his name was. I hated him. I proper hated it. And anytime I saw him afterwards, I hated him. Also,
he's just made the list.
Sebastian Frey, the big bastard.
Oh, Sebastian Frey. All right, Paul, have you got a list then?
I do have a list. I've added Ufolusi because he's just reminded me of what a shit he was. I'll go with the modern day one. And I won't go with anyone obvious like Andy Robertson. I'm just going to go with someone very, very irrational. Harrison Reed, a full. Small.
He sounds like
ginger.
Oh, yeah.
Great player. I like him. But,
Steve said, well off Wish.
Yeah, but he just winds me up.
Ginger guy with the short legs. Okay, yeah.
And just watching him against an Arna was hilarious on Saturday until he won. So my list goes as follows. I'll get the obvious one out the way. Les Ferdinand.
Yeah, I like that.
John Stead.
Oh, yeah.
Shout.
Paul Shauna.
Seeing Duncan Ferguson's dig on Paul Shauna in the flesh is one of my favourite things ever.
Yeah.
It was sensational.
And then the other two, Marion Pahars.
Yeah, used to bag as well, didn't he?
He just wound me up. Don't know why. And then Lauren Robert at Newcastle.
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah.
The other one at Newcastle, that Ben Arfa.
Yeah.
Lightning quick, wasn't he? Yeah.
He's getting added as well.
Scored an absolute worldie at Goodison, didn't he?
There's one we've still got to play this season. John Joe Shelby.
Oh, God.
He's just... he's quite irrelevant, isn't he?
Yeah, he's shite. I know, shite. He can ping a ball, but he can't move.
I had a really early shout in the 90s for Neil Ruddock. I couldn't stand him when he was at Tottenham. And then he signed for the Reds and it was like, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
And then he scored the equaliser in that 3-3 against Man United. And they were all
the one where he celebrates by as if it's hit his eye or something like that.
Yeah, he sort of limps off, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Oh.
On the last two, West Ham duo, Noble and Scott Parker.
Scott Parker's
a shout.
Oh,
remember Scott Parker cutting about in his waistcoat?
Oh, Scott Parker could wear layers for days.
Loved his hair as well, didn't he?
Absolutely mental.
Can I add one more?
If there was ever a manager that didn't deserve to get sacked, taken away that we all hate him, it was Scott Parker.
Oh, God, yeah.
But then, one more player.
They can say it was fine because Gary O'Neill went there and ended up being like Arsene Wenger.
Yeah.
That's why Wolves will do us next week.
Undoubtedly. Go ahead, as well.
Just because Dave mentioned Scott Parker and reminds me of the window Newcastle lad after we qualified for the Champions League. Emre.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he was
horrible little rat.
Horrible.
Emre, the racist Emre?
Yeah.
Yeah, our little twat.
Have you seen you must have seen the video clip of the game in Turkey where he just gets folded time and time again.
Amazing.
No, by Spurs' player. Zahora, was it?
Zahora.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. All of his teammates just went, right, sound, and went full Peter Reid.
Yeah. Just destroyed him.
Booted everywhere.
Right,
we're on final question. And I'm going to go to Greeny with his important question on bloke core. So youths wearing footy shirts regardless of affiliation, it says not for him, but he's a dar, so that sounded fine. His lad's got loads, but then his lad says, I'm going to get Man United 07-08. So he's like, what are the rules with this stuff? Now, I'm not averse to wearing like an obscure footy shirt. I'm not really into the way that it's becoming a big thing now, where they're doing like the
used to be
reveal video, where it's like When they started wearing the footy shirts with kecks and the jackets and stuff, not into any of that. But I think there is definitely a thing around this. What's your cut off for wearing another shirt? Now, like full disclosure, I had an Aston Villa shirt in 1992. It was the one with the ties there because I really liked the shirt and I really fucking hated United at the time, and they were running them for the league. So not my proudest moment, but I did like the shirt. Yeah, I think wearing other Premier League kits is not on, and
other teams from the same country should be a blanket ban.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, personally, I'm going to sound full Everton die here, but I think there should be a cut-off point at like as soon as you turn 18, you shouldn't be wearing like Everton kits. You should stop buying replica kits at 18. That's like the age.
See, I need to disagree there.
You shouldn't be.
I will wear shirt and shorts, never together. But I will buy Everton shorts and an Everton shirt and still wear them.
40-year-old Everton fans shouldn't be wearing shirts to the match.
I mean, you look at
this is my hill that I'll die on. You shouldn't be wearing a replica shirt to the match if you're like above a certain age.
I can not sitting on the fence here, but I'm going to sound like I am. I sort of agree with you both because I think there's a period where you have to stop. I think, and then actual dads wearing them, i.e. Les. I think it's sound then. Because
do you know what though? Right, if Everton had brought out that seafoam green kit, and I'd not been able to wear it, I'd have been devastated.
I mean, if you're going to buy one,
probably the greatest away kit we've ever had.
If you're going to buy an Everton shirt, wear it to fives. That's fine, right? I've no issues with that. If you wear it on holiday around the pool, so that other Everton fans can like let on with that, right? Maybe a quick up the toffees as you walk past on like the Salou strip. Yeah, sound. But you shouldn't be wearing replica kits to the match after a certain age.
That sounds like really weird though, Keith.
But also the ones who are in like the 30s and 40s and who are getting people's name and number on the back.
Oh, that's
grow up. No. That can't be.
Grow up, behave yourselves.
You can't be having heroes at that age.
I mean, do what you like. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's free to make their own decisions, but I let it be known I will judge you.
Yeah. Do you not think there's a high percentage who do that from Wolves? Who wear? Well, not you. I don't class you as one, truth be told. But I'm talking about, you see someone coming again from, Rob Vera there, you'd accept him wearing a kit, don't you? Because Rob comes from the States.
Rob doesn't wear a kit to the match.
I would also question Rob if he got a name on the back as well.
Rob will have some sort of nice leisure one.
But yeah, I'm talking about fans we get because we have like a lot of people listen to us coming from down south and Ireland, your neck of the woods where you were from, Keith. Them people who come from that far and wide with Everton kits on, not full kits, like the wearing socks and all that, they can go home. But the rest of it, I think you've got to. That's a fair pass for me, I reckon. If you're talking about Les coming in full kits, I think that's where you're going to a grey area when you're looking at Les.
You've got to look
Les mostly, but Les wears some really smart 80s kits, don't you, mate?
This is the loophole. Herein lies the loophole. If you wear a retro one, you can get away with it.
Oh, okay. So just
even like a shirt from like 5 or 6 years back, if it was a nice shirt, if you're wearing the current season, like you've gone out on the day it came out and bought it, you need to like just have a little think.
I'm safe in that regard because I don't buy it until it comes into sales.
Yes. Fair.
What are your thoughts on this one?
I'll let you off with that.
Do you know what? I can see Dave's point of view with people coming from abroad. If you want to wear the shirt, I get that. Me personally, I think I stopped wearing like the replica shirt to the game years and years ago. Retro shirts, got no problem with that at all. The original question, like I've grown up like wearing Celtic kits, Barcelona kits, like no problem, Brazil kits. Other Premier League teams, I've never owned another Premier League team's kit.
Yeah.
I did want to buy this kit when it was
Oh yeah, it's done that.
12.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it
It looks like
box.
O2. It looks like O2 actually made that, doesn't it?
For the people listening, it's the art. What season was that? It's the
O3,
early
O4 maybe.
What season?
02, 03.
04. Yeah,
02,
03.
03. It's
Arsenal
an 02
around
kit.
that time had some belter kits, didn't
Yeah,
they?
he did.
Yeah.
He did.
I remember
the
asking my
raspberry number
dad.
they had the last season at Highbury.
Oh, that's outrageous,
Yeah,
that kit.
The
That was a
maroon
great
one.
kit as well.
Yeah.
But I remember asking my dad if I could buy that kit, and he just went, grow up. And that was the last of it. And now I get it. But
I'm with you now, fella, here.
he must have been absolutely thinking, oh shit, I'm going to lose him to Arsenal. But I get that now. But back then I was just like, no, it's a boss kit. I don't love to hear you on me. Grow up, Paul.
Yeah.
Well, I put in the group before, weirdly, so this new Arsenal kit that's come out is, I think it's green with navy sleeves. I actually had a kit like that.
That's lovely, that.
You're talking like...
Adidas don't have they only have the logo, they don't have the words underneath it.
Yeah, it's just the three stripes.
Yeah, the three stripes, I reckon that looks good.
Yeah, I had that kit. It was an Umbro kit in about the early 80s. You're talking Kenny Sansom at his peak here at Arsenal. And I had that green Arsenal kit with the navy sleeves when I was about 4 or 5. And my uncle had it before me. And I don't know where it came from. Because my uncle was a red. Obviously, toffee, me. But I don't know where this kit came from. I think so much contraband just passed through my nan's house. There was just stuff just got distributed. So I don't know where that kit came from, but I remember having a kit like that, which is weird. Because I've never had any sort of affiliation with Arsenal apart from one game in 1989. But...
Yeah, which one?
I think that's it then for this week's mailbag, lad. So just one little piece of advice for Greeny Jr. Don't buy that Man United kit.
Don't do it.
Don't
Grow up.
Do not
grow up. Grow up.
There you go. Final words. Greeny Jr. Grow up. Don't do it. Thanks for all the questions this week. If we've not got to your questions, which
there's a season-long list of them.
Playing Maggie.
We'll carry them over to next week. Thanks to Keith. Thanks to Paul. Thanks to Dave. Thanks to everyone who sent questions in, and we will get to them next week. And when we'll catch you then on Mailbag.